Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
All right. We are back at the Circa. I got my guy Shawn Kanaki right here next to me, talking about some Circa Millions, Survivor, huge contest going on. Shawn, how the heck you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Happy to be in Vegas. Happy to be at Circa. There's no better spot to be, especially as we lead into football season. There's a lot of fun to be had and a lot of money to be made right here at Circa.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, 16 million in guaranteed prizes. How about that? Derek just keeps upping the ante every single year. I think that's just wonderful that he does that, Shawn. And you know what? We're already in the contest, aren't we? So tell me about your little your contest journey so far. Have you gotten into the millions?
Yep. So I've signed up. This will be my third year in the millions now, coming out here to Circa. There's no other contest like it, right? There's some big ones at a couple other casinos, but this is the big one, right? It's guaranteed money, $6 million. It's guaranteed, right, on the millions. So lots of payouts. You know, you could be the worst guy in the world and actually still get paid. But there's guaranteed money for each quarter of the season. There's guaranteed money for doing well, and then it pays out a whole bunch of places. So even if you don't get the $1 million winner, being the top dog, there's still a bunch of other ways to win on that contest, which is awesome.
I know, man. Four huge mini contests. 150 grand in first place in each mini contest, plus it pays like 75 for second, 50 for third. Kind of goes down from there, which is awesome. And you know, it's the funnest thing of the year because if you're a sports bettor, you know, you always pay big. And that's something that we always have to deal with. Sucks. We shop around all the time. You know, we try to find the most books we possibly can to not pay big or pay less big. There's some minus 108s once in a while. You find a minus 105 out there, you know. Usually it's 115 on the other side, but you know, it's all about shopping really. But when it comes to this contest, there is no vig. So you're actually kind of essentially sports betting, but trying to play for a contest. Not paying casino. The last few years, there's always been an overlay, so it's been plus EV, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's the big. Derek Stevenson's paying it to get up to his guarantee, right? So we've got that going for us, and you know, the Survivor. Looking up at the big board right now, they've got 5,700 entries. There's still a $4 million overlay on the Survivor side of things too. So there is a lot of money to be had and a lot of great odds to come out here and get an entry in for sure. You got a couple weeks to do it, and if you're thinking about it, I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic spot.
I mean, they put on a great show for us too. I mean, you know, they take care of you. You know, if you're a winner, you are invited back with free hotels, dinners, drinks, cabanas, stadium swim, the biggest TV. You also get a room so you can see stadium swim. So if your big screen's not good enough in your room, just look out your window and watch the other games, you know. They make it super comfortable, and that's what I absolutely love about this place.
Yeah, Derek for sure does it right. I mean, I got in last night before you did, and I played some games. You know, I was betting $20-$25 a hand, and I woke up this morning, scanned my card, and I've got $40 in food and beverage credits waiting to go for me just for sitting down playing $20 a hand for a couple hours. They take care of the people that they know, and that if you sign up for Club One, they're going to take care of you as well for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Club One is obviously a great players card, and they will give comp points for everything you do. They also have very good food here, obviously. The Saginaw, we just had sandwiches there. The thing is so big. You know, you look at it, it's like $22 a sandwich, okay. But it's so big, it's like two sandwiches in one meal. You can save it for the next. I mean, it's all about big things and value when it comes to this casino. And you know, there's no other experience like it. But it's not just that, Shawn. The blackjack table is paid properly, you know. And I think that's huge. You know, I gotta love the way that, you know, they always pay. You can split races more times. It's 3-2. Well, those places on the strip, they go 6-5. They try to rip you off sometimes, but downtown Vegas is the spot to be, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, I grew up coming out here, and I would stay on the strip the first 10 times I came out, and I haven't stayed there in 10 years now. I'm always downtown for a reason, for sure. And Derek and this casino group is definitely the reason. So you got here, you got the D, and you got the Golden Gate, and all three of them are fantastic spots to hang out, have a couple cocktails, and gamble for sure.
100%, man. It is the spot to be. Fremont's getting bigger and bigger, and it's just and funner and funner. And I know, even through COVID, Derek stuck it out and still built this casino. Took care of his employees too. They always tell me, my limo driver today, they pick you up at the airport, tell me how during COVID, Derek took care of him and his family. And I think it's just absolutely wonderful what kind of a guy he is. He's the best CEO in Vegas, and that's 100%. So let's talk a little bit about me and you then. So I'm getting millions, probably going to do Survivor. I don't know. The question really is, it's tough. Like, how many survivors do you do? Because you can go up to 10, that's 10 grand. You can do other survivor contests, obviously. You want to do the big one because there's literally going to be a $10 million guarantee. And it looks like Survivor's probably going to go over. So I think it's between 1 and then 5. Because I think 2 would screw me up too much, and I would just lose one right away. If you have 1, you can really focus in on your strategy. But I've also talked to winners that have won with 1 multiple times, and some of them, of course, with 10 or the max. But what do you think your strategy is?
I think with Survivor, the biggest issue I've got if I were to have multiple entries is how many would I double up on, right? How many? If I had 5 entries, would I pick the same team on 3 or 4, or would I go 5 different ones to start off the season? That's the question. It's tough, right? So, obviously it gives you more chances, and if you've got the bankroll and you're able to do it, you're going to have the opportunity to continue on longer. But I think for me, 1 or 2 would be it, right? Keep your top 2 plays each week as long as you can.
Yeah.
And then the other part of Survivor here that makes it a little bit tougher is you've got those holiday week games, right? You have to focus ahead of time and figure out what you're going to do pretty much now, right? You got to figure out what you're thinking, which maybe 2 teams for each of those holiday games that you are going to pick. Okay, I'm going to take one of these 2 teams this week and one of these 2 teams for the other holiday week. So you can't use those teams, and it really plays into a lot of strategy there. And I think that would mess me up if I had 5, 6, 7, 8 entries, because I'm already taking those 2 teams out. I don't know. It'd just be tough to manage for me. I like to focus in and have, my exact bets ready to go for sports betting. And even for Survivor, I'd like to have that 1 or 2 would be my peak. But hey, if you got $10,000 to come out and try and win $10 million, not a bad thing.
Certainly not a bad thing, my man. I think that with Survivor, it's so unique that if you're picking the consensus every week, what's your hopes to do? Split it with 500 people because the massive favorite wins every time? No. I mean, and that's what the general public should do. They're going to eventually chicken out. You look at the first week. I believe it's the Cincinnati Bengals. I believe they're playing the Carolina Panthers. If you look at that. How many survivors are going to be picking that one? So many of them. It feels like Cincinnati is so untrustworthy because they always start so bad. Shawn, I can guarantee you that I'm not picking Cincinnati week 1.
No, I don't think that'd be the right play. That being said, if you read my preview articles over at theoddsbreakers.com, I've got them winning the FC North and going 13-4. So
Sure.
I like where they're at. But, week 1 Survivor is always a crapshoot. There's always seems to be one team that knocks a bunch of people out. I think the one that I'm looking at right now is the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I think going into Buffalo, as much as that defense lost, Kyler Murray's healthy, underrated team from last year, actually made some noise at the end of the season going into Buffalo. They're going to lose? Probably. But if there's one team I'm looking at for Survivor that's going to ruin a bunch of people, it's the Cardinals right away. And, maybe you're saving the Bills later on, but I wouldn't be. But yeah, it's just a different crapshoot. For me, the one that I do at my home market is I do a loser Survivor, $500 entry loser Survivor. And that actually gets a little tougher real quick because there's only 3 or 4 really bad teams, right? Winner Survivor, you could rotate through them playing those bad teams. But once you use Carolina, New England, where are you going? And those are kind of fun too. I do enjoy that one. We talked to Derek a few years ago about that. He just said he didn't think he'd get enough interest. It's so hard to pay attention to for people that don't know what's going on. But I like the loser side of Survivor actually on my own. But that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that'll probably pick the Baltimore Ravens, just assuming that it's Survivor. I mean, how many people do that? There's a percentage. Basically, there's a percentage of people that don't even make their picks and forget and they're out already. I cannot believe that happens in millions. Literally, week 1 and week 2. It happens all year, which drives me absolutely nuts, but it just makes it more of a positive EV for the people that are actually paying attention because those guys are dead money, right? Kind of like when you're playing poker against some chump, right? You call it dead money on the table. That's what you're looking for, right? My poker days are long past. I don't have the time for it no more. But the truth is that that's how this works in the millions. There's people that are not going to make their plays. There's people who survive. They're not going to play. And loser survivor is much harder because you can't pick against them. In winner survivor, you pick against them a lot. But in loser survivor, you have to pick the loser. So it's like everything kind of evens out after week 5 or 6. So that rarely ever makes it. So I love that concept. But maybe sometime in the future, during the future of these contests, that they could possibly, bring something like that up. But other games there's all kinds of pick'ems. I think my first one, Shawn, that I used to play is just picking the games. The bar sheet. You got the 13 games that week or whatever. Sometimes there's 16 if there's no buys. You pick and the against the spread ones are obviously the best for us sports bettors. They're the funnest for us sports bettors. There's all kinds of contests like that, but the general pick'em is probably still a popular one. And there's some places that offer that as well, isn't there, Shawn?
Pretty much anywhere where I'm from. Getting the year-long contest and finding a place that does it and runs it well. I should probably take myself off there, and it just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling, and there's opportunity to do it everywhere. You just got to find the right spots and come out, and whether it's out here in Vegas or in your home backyard, the industry's growing, and that's the fun part for us, right? There's so many more people involved, so many more people paying attention, and it's just a community, right? We've grown into a community now. And I think there's opportunities out there for it to continue to grow. Obviously watch your bankroll and make sure you're being respectful of your home, but sports betting's fun, and that's what it's supposed to be, as long as you do it responsibly. And coming out here and putting $1,000 down for a chance to win $1 million, I like that.
Oh, absolutely. It's more than $1 million because you can win the quarterlies. It drives me nuts when people don't do bankroll management. I'm glad you brought that up. It's like, look, if you only have $1,000, your one star bet is $10. Your average probably should be 30 or 40. If you start with 5,000, it's 50 to 100 to 200. It drives me nuts when people just complain about sports betting. It's like if you do it right and do your homework and you're getting great plays from great people, or you're kind of combining. A lot of people that purchase plays have their own handicaps too, but they just kind of want to check them and just combine them with some people they respect, which is totally cool. That's really how you do it.
I don't think
I don't
bet dimes unless they have
50 to 100
in their bank. It makes no sense. And it drives me nuts when people sit there and brag. I see people will put a ticket down for $1,000. The dude's got like 3,000-4,000 in his pocket. It's like, dude, this is not the way sports bet. And I know you like showing off, but let's be real. You don't do this all the time. The trusted sports bettors is who you want to go to. We have a full slate of those coming in as guests, and I'm really excited to get some of those on, Shawn.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a great group and a great community out here. You mentioned dabbling and doing your own picks, and I still think that's the best way to go about it. But our service and what we do, we're here to help facilitate, right? And you can't be good at everything, right? I do MLB, I do NFL, and I do college basketball. I dabble a little bit in college football. It's certainly not my area of expertise. I think there's a lot of guys that are better than I am out there, and I appreciate the tweet last week. But my NFL and MLB are solid. College basketball is usually pretty solid. But you can't do everything all the time, right? I know a couple guys in the industry that are NBA guys. I love throwing an NBA game out at 9 o'clock Central Time on a West Coast game. Sure. But I'm looking at their picks, right? I'm going out, I'm checking out what they have to say. And, it's not my area of expertise, but if you're doing things the right way and you're managing your bankroll, it's a fun industry to be in. And it's a fun thing to do. And it's only going to get bigger. That's why it's getting legal in almost every state. I'm hoping Wisconsin soon. Yeah. We got it at the casinos. Hopefully we can get it outside of the casinos sooner rather than later. So.
Yeah, I know. It
just keeps growing.
And you see a lot of bets in the industry. I think they decided not to do that. They were going to put an extra tax on tax
states. I mean,
look, yeah,
if you can't make money in the states, you're still getting reputability with your name.
You can break even at -110. That's what you should be doing, just for getting more money from other states. And don't get me wrong, these guys ain't breaking even. they're winning money. There's so much in the hole that is parlays, and people are throwing stupid parlays constantly. A place like the Circa just does not do that. They cater to people. They care about people. They would never charge juice where there's not, when it shouldn't exist. They want at least abnormal type juice books around, which I love about the Circa. And I'm hoping the Circa keeps multiplying. They're in multiple states now. I'm hoping they come to my hometown in Arizona. That'd be wonderful. I'd love to bring my app to Arizona. It stops working every time I cross the border. I do have a lot of outs down there, but it'd be great to have a book like the Circa. But we have an amazing lineup today because Marco D'Angelo's coming on in a little bit, bottom of the hour. We're going to talk a little bit about the NFL, a little bit of Steelers, and a little bit of the NFC North, South, East, West, AFC North, South, East, West, the divisions, who's going to win the divisions. And, I'm pretty excited to get Marco on, and we're going to talk about that. We're also going to have Jeff Benson on. He's actually one of the head of the sportsbook directors down here. And Jeff Benson's going to talk about the Circa and how they make odds and how they carry sharp money. And after Jeff comes on, we're also going to talk to Tony Gordon in Las Vegas. Chris, I'm excited to talk to some previous winners here. Tony Gordon took down the millions in 2021. 2021, Chris took second and fifth in his two entries, so he made some bank just being in that. Imagine doing that. You have two entries because you're kind of hedging against yourself, but you still take second and fifth. That's pretty cool. And so I'm excited to definitely talk to Chris about that.
So as he comes in, we're going to do a little test on your microphone in a minute here, Kiev. Apparently you're gargling a little bit to some people coming out. Hopefully we can get that fixed. How's my voice sound for those of you out in the test world out there? Hopefully we can get that straightened out. But yeah, the great lineup here. We're going to get the sound figured out here shortly. Marco, one of the sharpest guys I know. Las Vegas Chris, obviously. Whatever you just did seems to sound better right there, Kiev. So
good.
I'm sounding clear. Now I hear you again. So our test guys out in Wisconsin, thank you for checking in. I appreciate it. But yeah, good lineup with Marco, Chris. Tony Gordon is fantastic. Funnest guy to hang out with out here for me. Sorry, Tony Georgia, for coming here in a little bit, but
Tony's coming tomorrow.
Tony's coming tomorrow. We're safe then. They're both Tonys are great, but Tony Gordon, you want to get with a guy who's actually done it and won this thing, this millions contest that we're talking about. One of the most humble guys in the world, right? He is just fantastic, salt of the earth. He's got one of those blue blazers, which is fantastic, and I'd love to get one of those and join him. I get to see him down at the pool, which is close to good enough, but I'd like to get the $1 million prize as well. So I think we got the sound straightened out from what I'm hearing. So good to go. What do you want to dive into next?
Well, let's
talk about
let's talk about the overlay. So right now in Survivor, there's 5,744. That means there's $574,400, and the guarantee is $10 million. So my thoughts are, this is trending probably a little bit over 10 million. So what Derek does, he pays it all out. So if it goes over 10 million, you're still going to give you full payout. That's great. Let's just make Survivor even bigger. Now the big value here might be the millions. Right now, we're only at 2,515 entries right now in the millions. I guess me and Shawn put in a few today to bring it to 2,515. Well, might have to put a few more in, but either way, why would you not put a few more in if it's going to be a positive EV contest? If it's 6 million, you're playing against the odds. Your odds are in your favor. Right? From a money standpoint, positive EV means what you're betting is paying more than the expected value is actually more than what you're putting in. The expected value. It's all about positive EV. So looking at that numbers, I feel like it was a little higher
last year.
It was. I think we were closer to 3,500, and you are breaking up again. So I don't know if it's the cord or what's going on, but we'll get that figured out, folks. The positive EV on this is going to be there, I think, by the time we get to the end. But we'd like to fill it up for Derek because he runs an amazing contest. And I'd have to check the entry. Somebody posted on Twitter about where they were at this time last year. It was, I think, just under 3,500 when we were out this same weekend. So they're about close to 1,000 behind. If I remember correctly, but I could be off just a little bit. But this is usually the weekend where it catches up real fast. As we get closer to the season, people come out for for opening weekend of college football next weekend. Well, I guess week 0 starts this weekend on Saturday. So, there's going to be some people out here this weekend, but next weekend with the big week 1 college football, there's going to be a ton of people out in Vegas for that. And hopefully, we fill that up a little bit. As a personal, hope, I hope there's an overlay in the positive EV for myself, for Derek and what we help promote out here. I hope he gets a little closer to that 6,000 total entries, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think it will. I think I got my audio fixed. There was a short. This cord wasn't quite plugged in right away, so I think it's okay right now. It's actually trending okay right now, so I apologize if you didn't hear me before. But this is just the start of the show. We have so many guests coming on. We're going to talk about this wonderful weekend here at Circa. And if you're in Las Vegas, come on, come say hi. We're going to be here all weekend, all the way till Sunday morning. Tonight we're going to D. We're going to go get to Park Canada, having a few drinks with Derek, with a few of the crew. Excited for that. We're all going to obviously be around the casino, lurking around at night. Tomorrow we have a big show, 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock here. So we're going to talk about everything with new guests. Some big guests coming in tomorrow. Derek Stevens is actually going to come on tomorrow too at 10:15 a.m. So really excited to talk to Derek himself, bring him on the Odds Breakers, and talk about all the wonderful stuff going on here in Las Vegas. So great stuff, Shawn. I think tomorrow we also have the pool. Right? I think it starts at 9, right? I'm not going at 9. We have shows to do, but we're going to be there probably after 1 o'clock and from 1 to 4, 1 to 5, something like that. Come see us, come say hi. We'd love to buy you a beer, talk to you a little bit, see if you're getting in the millions. It's also a pretty cheap plane flight to come in if, you live away from Vegas. Red eyes are only like $300 these days. Come on in, get with footballcontest.com, our proxy. He'll set you up for these contests where you can be hopefully in the hunt. And even if you're in the top 100, you're getting paid, aren't you, Shawn?
All big pools down in the strip, Mandalay Bay and Jim Grant and all those giant ones. I would much rather sit in stadium swim and watch a big game on a Saturday or Sunday. Fantastic fun.
There's no better place to be. All right, now we're going to go on a quick 5-minute break.
We're going to bring back Mr. Marco D'Angelo from Wager Talk to talk a little bit about the NFL and some of these contests. We'll be right back.
Thanks for coming down here.
No problem.
Really appreciate it. How have things been with you? Good?
Good.
My horse on the outside.
They didn't put it up to fishing yet. No, I just missed. Second. Yeah, the outside was flying late. Meadows, I own those back in Pennsylvania. He does it there.
Shawn loves it.
That's a lot.
So I think you're good. I just did off
Okay, so you mind interrupting me? Pretty good to go. You can turn the camera on. Stop. Looks like you lost a few pounds. A little bit. Purposely? That's trying, but I So, we're going to talk to NFL. I'll bring up the business. I'll talk about the contract.
I'm definitely getting invested. Yeah, football.
Oh, you want to sit over there? You want to sit here? Okay.
So if you start, I'll go down there and I'll come back over.
Okay. I'll go back on pause if it's not. Probably I know me and you can go 2 hours. But I'm thinking whatever, half hour, 25, whatever you want. My next guest will come late, driving in. Chris is going to come through, and Jeff mentioned it's 3:15. And we got
Well, let's say about the Steelers.
yes, I've seen their schedule.
The last round. Ridiculous. I can't all of that. They're playing Elks, big rival. And then you see Cleveland, Cincinnati, and then 2 games with our division games, Kansas City and Philadelphia. And they've got 2 games where they play on a short week. They play Baltimore, so Cleveland, it's my best bet is
all right, so
I retweeted something earlier. Yeah, said something else.
that was Jesse. You hired Jesse, huh?
He's been, he was over at Sports Memo and he brought him over. Yeah. Or are we in Circa meeting space?
You can scan this, and then it gives you the Wi-Fi right there.
I'm not in those days. He's got it.
Will you be around this weekend?
Should be around, yeah. Tomorrow I do.
Stop by Saturday. It's nice to meet you. You got time?
Try.
Yeah, I think we'll no, but I'll be here this weekend.
Okay.
I'll probably go to the conference. All right, we're actually going to start here. Just do it while we're here. What's that? All this. All right.
We are Marco D'Angelo from Wade Talk
is back, and he is going to hang out with us and talk a little NFL football. Marco, you can talk about the Steelers. I know you teased it with me a little bit. I guess some curiosity right here with that.
Yeah, Steelers got me a little bit upset on it. People in Pittsburgh aren't going to like the prediction I'm going to give you when we start breaking these down. But I can say to you, it's a good thing you didn't have me on 5 minutes earlier, because I may have dropped an F-bomb as I had a horse racing live today back home in Pittsburgh, and we got photoed out at 8-1.
Oh, photo finish, man. Well,
I know you've gotten a few of those, though. It's your horse. That horse is a great horse. Too. Just kind of got caught in the gate. Well, maybe you got the maybe you bet the place. I don't know.
Maybe an exacta box, but you're only supposed to play your horse on top. But I might have had a saver there.
You might.
we need to discuss that.
Well, hey, I'm so happy to have you on. Wager Talk has been such a great partner with the Icebreakers over all these years. Man, I think the first time I had you on was 8 years ago now, dude. It's been a while.
This weekend is our 10th anniversary for Wager Talk. We started, it's hard to believe that 10 years have gone by. And me and you have been doing podcasts together, talking Kentucky Derbies with Chris Felica and you. We always have fun with that. And it's football season now, so we got to put the horses on the back burner.
That's right. Horses on the back burner until the Breeders' Cup. Yeah. So that's cool. So let's talk a little bit about the Steelers. Let's talk the love triangle going on with Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, and Mike Tomlin. How has that been working out?
Well, Russ didn't get on the field till last week for the first time. He was nursing a calf injury. They were going cautiously with him. Justin Fields taking the majority of the snaps this preseason with the first unit, Situation being, when you have a quarterback battle it's being posed. The old saying is, if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have any quarterbacks. Okay. But, this was a free roll for the Steelers. Let's be honest about it. Picking up Russell Wilson for basically, by quarterback standards, a ham sandwich. We got him, only contract salary hit for us is $1 million. Denver's picking up the rest of the tab on Russell Wilson this year. So it's a free roll for us. I think he will be the starter. And the reason I say that is Justin Fields is what the Steelers hope to be their quarterback of the future. Right now, they need that veteran leadership. Let Justin Fields learn the system, get a little bit of confidence. And I think you have to go with Russell Wilson by default, because here's the thing. If you don't go with Russell Wilson to start and you come out of the gate with Justin Fields and then he doesn't perform, it's done. You can't go back to Russell Wilson. I think if you start with Russell Wilson and things don't work out, it'll be easier for Mike Tomlin then to make the transition to Justin Fields. There'll be less pressure on Justin Fields because he knows he doesn't have to look over his shoulder every week because, Russell didn't get it done.
So I just feel like that they're not getting along at all. I mean, they already got in a fight. And what's funny is both did not look good so far in preseason.
We haven't seen hardly anything of Russell. Last week was the first time he was actually on the field this preseason, and he wasn't able to generate any touchdown drives. Now, Justin Fields has had his moments, but he's also had moments the bad way. He's missed a couple guys wide open. One last week would have been a touchdown, just totally overthrew him. The other one, the mistakes he's made, he's had a couple fumbles with the center exchange. Now, that's not supposed to happen. That was in week one, and it happened twice in that particular ball game. So we'll see what happens moving forward with these two, but they've got offensive weapons. The running game, we know what that is. The offensive line has been beefed up. That was always a strong suit of the Steelers, was the offensive line in the way they were able to run the football. Then the last couple of years, the offensive line was thin, and then when you get one injury, you got guys playing out of position. The last 2 years, via free agency and the draft, they've really addressed the offensive line. And I think this is going to be a good offensive line for several years to come. We got a good mix of some veterans and some young players, so I'm looking forward to that. We know about the Steeler defense. If J.J. Watt stays healthy, that's always right.
Right, that's huge.
Not J.J. T.J. It's a situation where they will. They're a dominating force. We saw that last year. So if they have more consistency on offense, where the offense is staying on the field longer, which was something that was a problem last year, the defense will be even better. Everybody, the fewer snaps you got to play on defense, the better you're going to be.
Absolutely. I think that if they just kind of slow the game down a little bit until these guys get their feet wet, is probably the best way. And there is some good defensive players right there. Well, let's talk some divisions then, man. I got the odds right here. I'm actually going to bring it up on our screen and make some adjustments.
So I'm looking at the NFC North. Let's start with the NFC
North.
So we got the Lions,
right?
The Lions are the favorite at plus 135 now. You got the Packers at plus 230, the Bears at plus 275, and the Vikings at plus 950. Is there any bets that you like in the NFC North?
What's the current line on Detroit to win a division?
Plus 135.
I like Green Bay to come out of the division. I know that Detroit, great year last year, and we always say everything is a progression. 2 years ago, they just missed the playoffs. Last year, they made the playoffs, and then they finally broke that long jinx of winning a playoff game. A lot of people thought that they could have won the game they won, and they probably should have won the game that they lost.
Yeah, right.
If you're realistic about it, they played San Francisco tooth and nail, in that game. But I just think that what we saw at the end of the season last year from Green Bay And let's face it, everybody said, they were screaming at the beginning of the year when Green Bay got off to the slow start, and Jordan Love didn't look like, the answer for Green Bay. I have to give him credit. Remember, it's always tough to follow a legend. Okay, he's coming in, starting his first season, following Aaron Rodgers. Yes, he's had playing time over the last, few years when, Aaron Rodgers missed a game here or there. But it's not the same as you being the guy. This is your team. You're the guy that's going to carry them as far as they're going to go. Give him credit for as bad as the first half of the season that he had. The second half of the season, he was in the top cap. He was right there with the best quarterbacks in the NFL last year. So and it got paid. He got his contract, renegotiated in the off season, or I should say, right before the season started. So now, he doesn't have to worry about answering the critics. He'll have to answer the critics to getting the big contract. Was it worth it? But I think Green Bay is in a position to take another step forward after last year. And for me, if I'm going to take a flyer, where if you look at the season win totals, Detroit's at 10.5.
Okay.
Green Bay's at 10.
Right.
There's only a half of,
Half a game.
pundits are saying there's only a half a game between these two teams. So if that's the case, then why not take Green Bay at plus the bigger number to win the division? And their last I saw it was 230. What do you got a current one on Green Bay to win the division right now?
Green Bay Packers are plus
230 to win the division.
So you're getting an extra $100 of line value for something that they're telling us there's only half a game separated.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. I mean, there is some serious line value right now. I went with Lions. It was at plus 150. I got a little bit more than I think I like
at plus 135. I know that you get a lot more value based on the season win total market, but do I agree with the season win total market? I'm not sure. The real thing is, I know it's not a sophomore season for Love because he's been there a few years, kind of like Rodgers, but it's still his second year starting. And they were kind of fortunate in some of those last games. Don't get me wrong. You got a lot better. I believe Matt LaFleur was part of that. I think the fact that he's from the Kyle Shanahan tree, he kind of just gets those quarterbacks good, kind of like what Shanahan did with Brock Purdy. So I'm on the Lions myself. We'll see if it comes to fruition. And as a Bears fan, I really don't want to see the Packers win. It's just one of those things.
Well, let me ask you, is the Bear fan that you are you drinking the Kool-Aid yet?
I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. No,
I am not. I think 8 wins is fair.
I might take under 9. I do like what they're doing, and that whole reality show they're on is really hyping them up. But this is still preseason. Teams change after that. I've seen it so many times. Teams come out firing for preseason, and all of a sudden they look absolutely terrible when they actually get into the regular season. So, in my opinion, I would still go under with the Bears, under 9 wins. What about the NFC South? Falcons minus 130, Bucks plus 330, Saints plus 350, and Panthers plus 1,100.
Yeah, a lot of hype, obviously, with the Atlanta Falcons because of the Kirk Cousins signing. But what I'm going to say with them, the position I like on Atlanta, I think there's too much hype. I realize this is one of the worst divisions in football. It's a situation that there's just too much love on the Atlanta bandwagon. And what I'm going to say with Kirk Cousins is, yes, he's going to make that offense better. There's no question about that. It's such an upgrade over Ritter at quarterback. But remember, Tom Brady's going to be a first ballot Hall of Fame. Okay.
Yeah, he is.
All right. When he left New England, went to Tampa Bay, he didn't come out of the gate smoking. It was a situation where it took him a few weeks, actual game reps for everybody to get on the same page. Right. And that's going to be the same thing I feel early on with Atlanta. And the situation with, Atlanta, not only does Kirk Cousins have to, learn this new system and be acclimated to the new players and get that rhythm down. Let's not forget, he's coming off of a catastrophic injury. Okay, so I just don't see them jumping out of the gate and racking up a lot of wins early on. There's going to be some growing pains. And at 9.5, I think the market's inflated on Atlanta. I got to go under the season win total with the Falcons.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think that Atlanta still has coaching issues because we don't know if Raheem Morris can come back and be that great coach, right? He was one of my second worst hires. If you want to talk my worst hire, we'll get there. But Raheem Morris, I'm not believing in that. I know Kirk Cousins is still a little bit banged up. They spent a ton of money. That doesn't always translate to wins. I like Tampa in this division. I like Tampa to probably win enough to win the NFC South, but it's the plus 330 that I like a lot more about Tampa. That's where my realm is to take that. How about the NFC East then? The Eagles minus 120, the Cowboys plus 160, the Saints, the Commanders plus 900, and the poor old Giants at plus 2,000.
The Giants, all I'll say with them is I am not a Daniel Jones fan. I never was, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to never be a Daniel Jones fan. They got issues, and they're gonna miss Barkley, okay? Because Barkley was that security blanket, to help the quarterback out. With that said, it's a great segue for me to go into Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia takes this division. I think they take their season win totals over. I like both of those plays. Last year, it was the Super Bowl hangover year. They didn't have the hangover at the beginning. If you remember, they were off to a 10-1 start and looked like they were, on a collision course to go back to the Super Bowl and, possibly, play Kansas City in the rematch.
Right.
And then, man, you want to talk about a 7-week stretch where everything could possibly go wrong. Right. That was the end of their season. And I thought maybe there was some dissension in the locker room. And, the coach, when you're on the hot seat, you got, two things to do. You either start winning right away, to cool that seat, or you throw somebody under the bus. And he threw both coordinators under the bus, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator last year. Both got let go. And in comes Kellen Moore for the offensive coordinator and Vic Fangio for the defensive coordinator. Both of those guys, I think, will help this team offensively. And then now you get Barkley from the Giants. Yeah, right. I get that he's getting a little bit older, but he still can carry the rock. And this is a guy that still AAA speed and just gives you a total another threat. I say it all the time. A good running game is going to make an average quarterback good. You're going to make a good quarterback great. Now, when everybody's on the same page and Jalen Hurts can go downfield, he's got the weapons there. And when that's working, then it's going to open up the running game. You got to worry about Barkley. And then if you're worried about downfield and you're worried about Barkley and you're using play action or whatever, and you're looking downfield, you turn your back, and all of a sudden, Jalen Hurts can take off with the football and extend plays that way. I like them. Their defense was a problem the second half of the season. No question about that. They blew several fourth-quarter leads that makes that record misleading. And granted, at the beginning of the season, they did get some, bounces their way. But, the year they went to the Super Bowl, everybody expected them to regress the following year because they won all those close games. They were on every bounce of the football. They had an insane plus margin on turnovers. Really did. And so everybody was looking for them, to falter last year. They did, but it didn't happen until the end of the year. And let's not forget, they were riddled with injuries the second half of the season.
100%. I think that the worst fire in football was Dan Quinn.
I'm sorry,
man. I watched Atlanta that year, and it was all Kyle Shanahan that got that team to the Super Bowl. Now, was part of the show?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Probably, that's the common denominator of recent Super Bowl shows. Kyle Shanahan, and Kyle Shanahan. He's got three of them.
It doesn't help when you play Patty Mahomes either. I consider the Commanders' worst record in the league, but the Patriots are just looking so abysmal. And Carolina's looking abysmal too. It's just I'm not so sure about that bet anymore. But I do agree with you. The Eagles have moved all the way up to minus 120. I think that they hired Vic Fangio, like you mentioned. I think he is the key to this game. This team, because I've seen him coach the Bears defense when the Bears defense was good. It was great. He was doing everything right in Miami, but they got hurt. You can't really help about that. But they did a great job doing that. And Tush Push is going to be back in full force, even without Kelsey at center. So I think that's where we're at. What about the NFC West? Now, the Niners are still sitting there at minus 125. Maybe they changed a little. I wrote this a few days ago, but the Rams are plus 330. The Seahawks are plus 900, actually. And the Cardinals are plus 1,300. What about there?
Well, obviously, it is the 49ers division to win. They're the best team. They got all the weapons. Brock Purdy, everybody was waiting for the other shooter last year. They did it the entire rookie season, Mr. Irrelevant. When's the Iowa State Brock Purdy going to show up?
Right.
I still have scars from some of those games where it was to watch that offense try to score points in the Big 12. But he lived up to it. He came back last year and put up good numbers. So to me, is it the quarterback or is it Kyle Shanahan's system? And you alluded to that earlier. He manages to get the best out of his quarterbacks, and I think that's what it is. And then, the saga, with Ayuk, the Steelers were, every day we were getting teased that, he's coming to Pittsburgh. He's coming to Pittsburgh. But with or without him, that team is still loaded offensively. You got Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. You got Deebo Samuel to throw the ball deep. And then when you're worried about the running back and you're worried about Deebo deep, you got to worry about George Kittle across the middle. Okay,
sure.
No wonder Brock Purdy does so well, in that system. So it's theirs to win, but there's no value betting. Their season win total is high, doesn't leave any margin for error, and you're not going to lay a hefty price to win that division. I do have a play I like in that division. I think Arizona is going to be improved. Okay, and I know that's your home state right now. It's amazing that when Kyler Murray was healthy 2 years ago, everybody was screaming that he's not good. Then they lose him, and they see that not good wasn't bad. Okay, with what you put up afterward. He came back last year, second half of the season, off of a bad injury. They went 3-5 in his 8 starts, but more importantly, and what we concern ourselves with is the point spread. He went 5-3 in the 8 games that he was back. Looking at a season win total, I think of 6.5 with them. I think they can go over that number because I'm not really sold on the rest of the division. I think Seattle's going to be down. I'm not, the Geno Smith fan. He had that 1 year, and it got him paid. But we've seen enough of Geno Smith, okay? And now you've got a new coach coming in. All right, you got a new coach there. You're replacing, Pete Carroll, whether you like Pete or not. He was a winning coach. He got the most out of his team. He wasn't flashy. His style was get me to the fourth quarter. If I'm within touch in the fourth quarter, we'll find a way to win it. Right. And his teams usually did. But he had Russell Wilson in his prime.
Of course.
That's a big difference. We'll see what happens with the new coach. First year, everybody expects something. But remember, you can't make a wholesale roster turnover in the first year. He's got players that he inherited from the other coaching staff that might not be the best for what he wants to run. It's going to take a little bit of time. And then the Rams. The Rams were a surprise last year. A lot of people expected a regression from the Rams. Every year you hear, Stafford is getting, older and, Father Time caught up to him. Put up good numbers last year. But they got to replace Donald on defense, okay? And when you have a player of that stature retire, usually you don't talk about defensive players retiring like that. More so when a quarterback like a Brady or Big Ben in Pittsburgh, when he left and the void you had to try to fill, it doesn't happen. And I just think the Rams, although their defense was okay last year, taking him out of the mix, they're not going to get that pass rush. And I think it's going to leave that secondary on an island. I think they're going to get exposed in some games. And that means Matthew Stafford's going to score points. And I don't see him in that prolific role if they have to get into shootouts. So I think the Rams are going to regress. And I know, I'm a situational guy. I already got one circled on the calendar. The first 3 weeks, you look at the Rams' schedule. They open the season with the playoff revenge game. They go to Detroit, right? So that's going to be a huge game for several reasons. Again, Stafford going back to his old, playing against his old team.
Right.
Throw the revenge in for playoff. We always say revenge is the most overused word in sports betting, but there's certain situations that I still put a lot of stock in. You always remember who ended your season, okay? I don't care who that team is, you're going to remember that. So that's a big game for them. After they play Detroit, they got to play Arizona, I believe, week 2. And then they have the 49ers on deck after that. You want to talk about a sandwich game. I know Arizona's a division rival, but you're sandwiched between playoff revenge and your arch rival, San Francisco. That's one to circle for week 2. If I think Arizona is going to be improved the way I do think they are, I think that's going to be a great spot for Arizona.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think Arizona had maybe the best draft pick. I really like Marvin Harrison. I mean, he's a stud, great kid. Was just a beast at Ohio State, and usually I'm down to receivers, but this year I was like, this guy is a must-draft type person. Unfortunately, he was grouped with a ton of quarterbacks, right? A ton of quarterbacks. But I agree with you that the Cardinals, I think, are going to be better than the market. I'm not going to mess with the Niners either. I think they are juiced. It's unbettable, but the only thing I took is that the Rams do make the playoffs. I took that plus money at least, but it's just to make the playoffs. I think the coach right there is good enough to get them there, and they still got Puka Nacua, and obviously Cooper Kupp. Hopefully he comes back and looks like the old Cooper Kupp that we remember, because the old Cooper Kupp, remember, was absolutely awesome. And that's, I agree with fantasy Seahawks. There's so many people and sharp people that like the Seahawks this year, and maybe McDonald's a good hire, but losing a coach like Pete Carroll, I think, changed them. I think Pete Carroll might have made Geno play a little bit out of his shoes, a little bit better than what he really is. So, my thoughts are probably just stay away from this division for the most part. What about the AFC North? The Bengals at plus 140, the Ravens at plus 145, the Browns at plus 600, and the Steelers at plus 800. Marco, go at it.
All right, I'm going to try not to drop any F-bombs on the NFL right now, because when we talk about the Steelers, my Steelers got hosed. But let's start with how I feel the division's going to go. I think this is the best division in the NFL, top to bottom. You got 4 teams that all have over 500 season win totals. Okay, so if everybody's going to beat each other up, it's going to be tough for who comes out of this division as far as home field, because I don't think they're going to get home field. Because I do believe that division, the Cincinnatis and Baltimores are going to butt heads. Cleveland, if they get anything out of Deshaun Watson, okay, and that's, haven't seen anything yet, okay. It could go down as one of the worst contracts in history when you gave them all that money, that knowing in the first year you're going to lose them for some games. You didn't know yet how many, but you knew that the suspension was coming. Then he gets hurt in year 2. This is put up or shut up year for him, and it seems like every year there are wise guys that want to jump on that Cleveland bandwagon. But I like the coaching staff. They have a roster that is built to contend for a Super Bowl run. They got to get that play out of the quarterback, and they made the playoffs last year with Joe Flacco, where you always say that. You take somebody off the scrap heap, or you pull somebody off their couch. In this instance, they actually did take the guy off his couch and come in and put up numbers that were just insane last year and got them to the playoffs. So I expect another step forward from Cleveland this year. Baltimore is Baltimore. They're one of the best coach teams in the league. But I will say last year in the playoff game, I, for the first time, was questioning Coach John Harbaugh on his decision. Why he abandoned the running game in that playoff game is just absolutely mind-boggling. To me, so Baltimore will be there as they usually are, but I think if, and it's a big if Joe Burrow stays healthy, I think the Bengals will make a serious run. I know they got defensive issues, but the offense wasn't consistent last year after he got hurt.
No, they weren't.
The defense had to start playing, more time of possession, more time on the field. And as I said earlier, the more defense is on the field, the more it's going to get exposed. I think they won't be having to defend the same number of plays per game this year as they did last year, which will make it better just on that fact. And then when you got Joe Burrow, I think he is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL when he's healthy. And he's got one thing on his resume that the other guys don't. He's beat Patrick Mahomes. Okay?
Yeah, you're right.
Josh Allen can't get by Patrick Mahomes. These other guys, that have tried haven't been able to, get past Mahomes. He has. He beat him, and he made a trip to the Super Bowl. I think that's invaluable for this team. But I'll tell you what, the window is closing on the Bengals. They better get it done this year or next, in my opinion.
Yeah, once you start paying people, the window closes up pretty quickly, and that's the problem. How about the AFC South?
You want me to go on my rant though about the Steelers?
Well, you already did, but I took the Steelers under 8.5, man. That was a no-brainer play. I took it when it was even money. It's like minus 190 now or something. What do you think?
I'm under season win total on the Steelers. This will be the first time that Coach Tomlin does not have a winning record. He'll break his streak as a head coach, but this is all about the schedule. Okay, they're going to struggle. They have an easy schedule at the beginning, but the offense, as you've seen in the preseason, because you've got 2 new guys into the system, learning a new offense. They're going to have some growing pains in the first few games. They'll get it figured out. But when they hit the second half of the season, their final 8 games, they play all 6 division rivals.
Unreal.
I don't know what the NFL was doing with the schedule. And if that wasn't – they have 2 situations where they play Baltimore, and you and I have talked enough times. When those 2 teams meet, it is a physical war, bloodbath, whatever metaphor you want to use when they play. They got to come back on 4 days and go to Cleveland after the Baltimore game. Okay, so you talk about situational plays. That's another one where you've got to circle the Browns for that Thursday night game when the Steelers are going to come off a very physical game on Sunday and play 4 days later. Then they have another 4-short-week massacre game for them after a heated rival. They play Kansas City on Christmas Day. You're playing on a Wednesday.
It's just terrible.
Yeah. So how they go the last 8 weeks of the season, if they finish the final 8 games at 4-4, would be an absolute miracle in my opinion.
It absolutely
will. I'm going to have you break down the AFC South while I grab my backup mic. Apparently, I'm having a few jitter issues. The AFC South, Texans plus 105, Jags plus 275, Colts plus 310, and Titans plus 1,000, Marco. Have at it.
Yeah. Well, let's just do the quick one early. Forget about Tennessee. There's nothing to look at with Tennessee. It's going to be a tough year for them. Quarterback situation. You've got a young quarterback that's inherited a job. You got my man Mason Rudolph as the backup quarterback down there now. Does he get any playing time? We'll see if things don't work out for the starting quarterback or he gets injured. But the rest of that division, it's interesting when you look at one of the teams. Everybody loves Houston, obviously, because of what they did last year. C.J. Stroud had about as good of a season as you could have for a rookie. Led the Texans to a 10-7 record and a playoff berth. But now it's year 2. And, the natural thought is a rookie's going to improve in year 2 after what he did in his first season. But that's not always the case because now there's a whole season of game film to look at with C.J. Stroud. Look at his tendencies. Look at what he does well. Look where he doesn't do well. And that is a situation where let's see if he can repeat it. There's been a lot of love for Indianapolis this year because they went to the final game of the season. If you remember, it was them in Houston, final week. I think that was even a standalone game on Saturday night, that final week of the season. It was the winner goes in, loser goes home. And
Without Anthony Richardson, I should mention.
Right. Yeah. Now, Anthony Richardson, everybody's high on him, but how can you be so high when we only saw a few games before he got hurt last year? This is a team that I know a lot of people like. I'm kind of under on the season win total with them. I just think it's a situation where it's inflated because of public perception of what they saw and automatically believe Anthony Richardson's going to be the answer and take them to that next level. The team that I am high on in there, I think this is the bounce back year for Jacksonville. Last year, Jacksonville was the odds-on slam dunk to win what everybody said was the
Wait, did Trevor Lawrence give you some of that $55 million bucks?
Well, he's going to have to earn it now. And don't get me started on the quarterbacks and the contracts that they got this year, because other than Joe Burrow that went to the Super Bowl once, nobody's been to the Super Bowl out of that, that trio of the $50 million quarterbacks that we saw in the offseason. But Trevor Lawrence, I think this is a bounce back year for him. They missed the playoffs last year when he got hurt. He played through it, but he wasn't the same. Okay. The game that he got injured, when I was watching the game to watch that live, I thought he snapped his ankle. I thought it was over, Okay. And to come back and they call it, just a high ankle sprain, but he wasn't the same the rest of the year. I think they're flying under the radar this year because everybody's so much in love with Houston. I think they're worth a flyer. When I took it, I had Jacksonville plus 300 to win their division. They're currently at now what?
Jacksonville's at plus 275.
So market's agreeing with me coming down a little bit. I still think that's a good play at plus 275 to win the division.
I actually took them to make the playoffs. I think at plus 135. That's what I got. To make the playoffs, plus 135 for Jacksonville. I think the new defense coordinator is very good. I think he's going to make a big push to make more blitz schemes, stunt the linebackers a little bit. He's got a reputation for that. And I think that's what they need, is that kind of kick in the butt. I like Peterson's coach. I think Texas is getting too much love. That's fair enough. How about the AFC East? The Jets plus 180, Bills plus 180, Dolphins plus 200, Pats plus 2,500.
Don't waste your money. This is the second best division in football, and it would have been the best if it wouldn't have been for New England's one of the four to drag their average down. But from the other three, top to bottom, I think all three are close. And the reason for that is Miami's been knocking on the door, okay? And then they've had injuries, whatever, whether Tua was out, injuries to the defense. If Miami stays healthy for a full season with all of the key components, they can contend and win this division. So they're already right there. They just need to stay healthy. Buffalo's been there and done that. The problem is the window keeps getting smaller for them for the success. They got rid of a wide receiver that I know he was a problem child, but you just erased a big weapon from your offense.
I know they replaced him with Coleman. It's like a rookie. They got a couple, third string type guys that's going to be playing in second receiver, some in the slot this year. But man, I agree. It's like, seriously, what are you doing, Hills? It's like they missed the window, maybe.
Then that leaves the Jets, okay? And I know this is drinking the Kool-Aid, but the fact remains, if you look at this roster from top to bottom, we did not get to see Aaron Rodgers but for 4 plays last year. I think that averaged out to about $10 million a snap.
10 mil?
Yeah, for the 4 plays that he played last year. If he's able to be healthy and make the whole season, everybody said the only thing this team is missing is a quarterback. Well, they got the quarterback. They got him some weapons to help him. They beefed up the offensive line that was not good last year.
Right.
The defense, one of the best in the NFL. And think about how good that defense is for the Jets. It's a Super Bowl caliber defense.
Right.
Think about the time of possession of every game they played last year. Okay, the Jets' offense at times was so pathetic, that the defense was on for the whole game. You felt that the defense was on. It wasn't that much, but it was way more than it should have been, and they still didn't break down.
Mm-hmm.
Now you get that same defense, and they're playing less downs per game, plays, snaps, defending, because you've got Aaron Rodgers that's going to take the team on drives, keep the offense on the field. I think this is the year that the Jets break through. And I know that, the Jets faithful and the Bears faithful, they've been teased for so long.
Yeah, a little too long.
But I think the Jets are legitimate. And I've made plays on the Jets. I've taken the Jets to win the AFC. I've taken the Jets to make the playoffs. And I've taken the Jets over 9.5. I'm pretty much all in on Gang Green for the AFC.
I am too.
I think that I got a good number. This is the 200s. It's plus 180. It's getting to where I don't like it as much. I guess now you think about Aaron Rodgers, and was he that much of a drama queen? I mean, he kind of was. He was with the Packers at the end last year. He kind of made it about him. I said might come back. Just kind of releasing those little news stories to beat writers and things like that, playing these little games. And I do worry about that. I suppose as a Bears fan, I got a little distaste for him in my mouth as well. They're loaded, man. They're loaded. They got wide receivers. They got a great defense, and they got Braylon Allen, who came from the Badgers. He is underrated. I think he's going to be taking some snaps from Breece Hall, especially from a fantasy football. He's a big man. He's a fast guy. He's kind of like a Jonathan Taylor. He's not quite to that level. But the man was a beast, and when he was on the Badgers were just that much of a better team. So, in my opinion, I think Jonathan Taylor I think his addition, Braylon Allen, I'm trying to say, is just going to beef up that run game even more. So they don't have to rely on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers can just be average. I still like the Jets, man. It's not the greatest number right now, but I do like them more than the Bills. And now let's finally get to the AFC West, where you have the Chiefs at minus 230. The Chargers at plus 320, the Raiders at plus 900, and the Broncos at plus 1,800. Tell me you're betting the Broncos and Bo Nix.
No, I'm not. And, it's year 2 for Sean Payton, and a little bit of pressure on him. I used Denver in the preseason because I really thought that he was going to want to instill that winning culture right away because, he came in there last year, and I didn't think it was very classy of him to make the comments he made about Nathaniel Hackett, the previous head coach. You're in there, why you're there, because they fired the other guy, all right? So why throw him under the bus anymore, with some of the comments that he made?
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't like that. That was a side of Sean Payton I didn't see before and really wasn't a good look. Then the way the end of the season they handled Russell Wilson. Again, there was some kind of disconnect between him and Russell.
Right.
Russell wasn't his guy. He inherited Russell Wilson, taking over the team. And that's what we talk about, with new coaches. You expect to see more in year 2 and year 3 of a new coaching regime than year 1. Expectations are always so high because the other guy was so bad and you're hiring a big name. It's got to be better. But remember, this is a team that in one of the early weeks last year had a 70 hung up on them.
Yeah.
Remember
Miami, that was over in first quarter.
But so I have no love for Denver, and I think it's going to be an under 6 for the win total. Bo Nix, though, I will say this much. He has impressed me. He's looked good in the preseason.
Yeah.
I get them starting him and, go ahead and try because this is a rebuilding project. Why not, if you feel he's your franchise quarterback, he ran a pro system at Oregon, so that's going to help him, better making the transition to the NFL from college. So go with it, but, it's going to be a long year. It's just, those blitzes are going to look like they're going, like you hit the fast forward speed at like 2x compared to college football. In the Pac-12, it's not exactly known.
No.
Kansas City, yeah, it's their division to win. There's no value in them as far as the division goes. I did take a flyer on them to win the AFC and be your repeat.
Why not?
And the reason I say that is because I said how competitive I thought the AFC East was, how competitive I thought the AFC North was. And the West is soft. And although the AFC South is better than it was last year with Jacksonville and Houston and Indianapolis supposedly could be better, I think Kansas City has the inside track to home field advantage because they're not going to be in a division where they're beating each other up. So, if you're splitting with, if Buffalo, Miami, and the Jets beat each other up, the Steelers, the Bengals, the Browns, and the Ravens beat each other up, you're looking at teams probably 10-7, 11-6, 12-5. They can get home field advantage, and we know how hard it is to go into Arrowhead and win, especially in January. Ask the Miami Dolphins when you can get one of those frigid cold games, whatever. So I think there's value with Kansas City. That's the only place I see the value is trying to ride them at plus 340 to get to the Super Bowl.
I don't disagree with that. I made a bet that I kind of regret. I bet the Chargers over 8.5, and this was before the Justin Herbert news, where he, plantar fasciitis. I've had it a long time ago. It lasts forever. It's a tough injury. Here's the thing. They look like crap in the preseason. The Raiders look like crap. Carolina looks like crap. They look like crap in the preseason. I've been watching preseason, but you can't take everything in preseason, but still. You want to see – they have nobody. Easton Stick is not an NFL quarterback, man. They have nobody back there. And in my opinion, it's going to be all Jim Harbaugh
If that thing gets over
8.5.
I guess that's my silver lining is that
I got a great coach there.
But at the same time, it's just a tough situation, and I kind of regret it. We all have bets that we kind of regret a little bit. There's got enough good ones that you're happy about, obviously. But I have no disagreement there. Well, Marco, that's awesome, man. Great breakdown of this stuff. Why don't you talk a little bit about some of these football contests and how exciting they are in Las Vegas?
Oh, it's what Derek's doing here, at Circa, and putting up big guarantees, and from a poker player standpoint, they throw out the word, there's an overlay. Yeah. When poker tournaments have a guarantee and they don't get the number of signups for them to hit the guarantee, that money comes out of the pocket, of the poker tournament organizer, and in this case, that would be Derek Stevens.
Yeah,
come out of his pocket if they don't hit these guarantees for Circa Millions and Survivor. But Survivor has just exploded. I mean, that is the contest that it just keeps getting bigger and bigger every year. And you come to Vegas, all these here, we're spoiled because I'm here. I can play every contest. And there's several casinos around town that offer football contests. But if you are a player from out of state, make that weekend, plan it, guys' weekend trip to Vegas in the month of August. You can sign up for all of these contests, and then all you have to do is be in Vegas to sign up. Once you sign up, if you get a proxy, they'll put your plays in for you. They're going to do it for either a flat fee or commission. If you win, most of them flat fees, and you can play the entire season from the comfort of your home. And what's fun for the novice, so to speak, and we talk about, in poker tournaments, and when I do your Kentucky Derby podcast all the time, I say there's a lot of dead money in the whole but there's people that come down and for $1,000 you can enter a Survivor contest, and you've got fun for as long as you're in that thing for the season. And if the fun starts to become pressure, okay, if you're still alive when you're getting to weeks 13, 14, and then the strategy that's involved, because the nice wrinkle with the Survivor contest at Circa is they have a separate week where they count the Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Okay. So now you have to play game theory. When you set out your season, you got to kind of look at the schedule first for Thanksgiving and Christmas to see who those teams are, write them down, who's playing, and know that you've got to have a team alive.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you there's going to be somebody that's not going to look ahead, plan ahead, and they're going to get to that week and have to take a 10-point underdog because all the other teams they already used. They didn't, plan ahead.
That's brutal, man. It's going to happen.
We know it happens all the time.
Well, Marco, you've been amazing. Work with our listeners and viewers. Get your wonderful information in place for NFL 2024.
You can head over to wagertalk.com. As I told you at the beginning, it's our 10-year anniversary. It's hard to believe we've been doing this, for 10 years when we started this up. And if you do head over to Wager Talk, all weekend long, 4 days, Thursday through Sunday this week, we have a special offer on, for the anniversary. If you buy any all-access package, whether that's a 7-day, a 30-day, or longer, if you use coupon code 10-year, the number 10, and spell out the word year, you can get 30% off any all-access package. Great way to do it. Knock on wood, buddy. I'm on a nice run right now. 9-1 the last 5 days, and
nice.
Keep it going. I know this is the time of the year where a lot of people start hanging it up for baseball because football starts. Hey, if it's treating you well, you keep running with it, and we'll do that. And believe it or not, you'll probably give me some grief, but I actually started handicapping the WNBA this year.
Okay. Well, hey,
it works. It's money, man.
It has worked. We've gone 19. I've been very spot play, 19-6, and the only reason that I started doing that is because I actually do a local radio show here in town twice a week, and because it's local radio, and plus the guy that does the show, TC Martin, he is the voice of the Aces. So we're talking a lot of aces. So I'm talking it as much as I'm talking NFL football, and went to a few games last year with the wife. She actually liked it. We ended up becoming season ticket holders this year to the Aces, and now I get to see all the teams come through. And I think it's one of those things that to tell the public, when it comes to the NFL, everybody knows everything. You're not getting scooped on anything. Every stat you have, the bookmakers have. Every injury you see come across Twitter, they're watching that same Twitter.
We all got it.
Okay, we all know it at the same time. But you want to go to the niche markets where they're not as versed. And I can tell you that the WNBA right now is one of those markets that they're not in.
All right.
With playoffs, they're not going to be as concerned about WNBA as they're concerned about college football.
Well, money's money, Marco. And if you guys want to make some money, we don't care what sport it is. Check out Marco at Wager Talk. Guys, we're going to fix these mic issues, but come back.
At the top of the hour, we're going to have more great guests. We're going to have
Las Vegas Chris, Tony Gordon,
Jeff Benson from Circa Las Vegas. We'll be talking to you guys soon.
Cool. Sorry, guys, for having trouble with
He's going great.